The purpose of gathering marketing information is to reduce the inherent risk in marketing decision-making. Information is the fuel which propels marketing decision-makers through the strategic planning process for marketing, a process which begins with a SWOT analysis. A good SWOT analysis integrates information from many sources to identify an organization's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Based on an understanding of the problems and opportunities facing the organization, decision-makers position and differentiate their products in the marketplace, create marketing programs for existing products along the 4 Ps, and plan for new product initiatives. Fundamental to the success of strategic marketing decisions is accurate, relevant, and timely information. Information for marketing decision-making comes from 2 basic sources: the organization's marketing information system and marketing research. Both sources utilize data that are collected from either secondary or primary sources. A good example of a secondary source of data is census data provided by the U.S. Department of Commerce. Census data is particularly useful to consumer products companies in analyzing consumer markets, since it contains statistical summaries of demographic and socioeconomic data about people and households by geographic area within the U.S. Primary data are collected specifically for solving a current decision problem. For example, data on sales and promotions may be collected using a traditional test market to determine the likely success of a new product. Whether from secondary or primary sources, if the data we collect are not of high quality, no analysis or interpretation can improve the marketing decisions based on this data. Yet data collection is often overlooked as clerical or menial. Nothing could be further from the truth. Quality data collection requires great skill and extensive training to collect properly. However, because primary data collection within the context of marketing research is both expensive and time-consuming, let's take a closer look at this step in the marketing research process. There are 2 basic methods of acquiring primary data: observing or questioning. Both have advantages and disadvantages. In general, observation is thought to be more accurate than questioning because it measures what people do rather than what they say they did. A respondent's memory and willingness to provide information is not a problem in observation studies. If the people do not know they are being observed, the data will reflect normal behavior. In consumer research, observation of buying behavior can occur in a natural environment rather than an artificial setting. On the other hand, observation may not produce accurate data if people are aware of being observed and change their behavior. If human observers are used, the cost of skilled observers may be high. Also, human observers must interpret what they see, and their observations may be difficult to quantify. For example, secret shoppers use their judgment to score a store's cleanliness, and a sales associate's friendliness. Mechanical observation is less expensive than human observation and can produce a wealth of data. Advances in computer technology combined with scanners at the checkout in retail stores have revolutionized the collection and analysis of retail sales data. The Nielsen Company collects in-store purchase data through its ScanTrack service in more than 4,000 retail stores. They also send human auditors into stores to collect additional information about in-store displays, inventory levels, out-of-stock conditions, and adjacency of competitors. Analysis of the ScanTrack data reveals details about people's shopping behavior like items purchased together, items bought on sale or with coupons, and more. ScanTrack provides manufacturers with market share and sales data which can be analyzed over time to show market trends and broken down by geographic area and type of store to show comparisons. Nielsen also has a panel of shoppers who scan their purchases in their homes using their HomeScan devices. Over 125,000 households participate in the HomeScan consumer panel, and they collectively provide a statistically reliable and representative sample of household purchases in the U.S. HomeScan also collects household data such as age, gender, and income, and can match this data to the purchases captured from the handheld scanners. The advantage of HomeScan is that all purchases made by a household can be scanned, including purchases from outlets that may not have in-store scanners. Once the shopper scans their purchases, the data are transmitted to the Nielsen Data Center. Some companies have built databases from their scanner data, and they mine this data for insights into the effectiveness of marketing strategies.
Here are some more great ways you can save this week with Kroger Plus.
Shopper marketing, or card marketing, was developed long after the science of category management was developed. Category management looked at product behavior. Shopper marketing looked really at customer behavior, at individual shopper behavior. So it was started many years ago to really dig deeper and to understand our customers better. Once we understand how a shopper shops our stores and we begin to understand their motivations, and by the way, we also begin to understand their price sensitivity, we can develop targeted offers. That's the currency of much of our business, is to find promotional ideas, to find coupons that really fit for that particular household. We can begin to target those. We use direct mail to target shoppers. We use receipt prints within our stores. We have a separate printer that also delivers targeted offers, all based on what we've learned is important to that household as they shop our stores over time.
If you have a Plus card or your 123 Rewards MasterCard, welcome, valued customer. Please scan your first item and place it in the bag.
As attractive as mechanical observation is, though, it may not be the best choice in certain situations. Human observation is more flexible. Skilled observers can interpret and record behaviors not amenable to mechanical devices. Human observers can move around and observe in different locations. After recording an observation, the observer can interact with a respondent to gain additional insight into their actions. In some environments, videos can be made of respondent behavior and viewed more than one time and interpreted by more than one observer.
It's an exercise often in Zen because it means that we look at the same thing or go through the same process over and over and over and over again. And it's often in the 8th hour of watching something that a little light bulb clicks off in your head and you say, how come I didn't see that before?
Sometimes observation is not the best choice for collecting data. Observation can tell you what, but not why. In order to get at the whys of human behavior, we must move from observing people to questioning them.
When you buy music, generally what type of music do you prefer?
R&B.
R&B? Okay.
Questioning respondents allows us to collect information about their past behavior, their economic and family characteristics, attitudes, perceptions, values, and even what they will do in the future. Questions may involve qualitative or quantitative approaches. Qualitative questioning allows respondents to answer in their own words and to explain their answers. Qualitative questions typically try to probe for why and how. Quantitative questioning often has scales for respondents to use when answering questions, because quantitative questions attempt to estimate how much or how many. An example of a qualitative question might be, what do you think about the new Ford Flex? A quantitative question might ask, rate the styling of Ford's new Flex car on the scale of 1 to 5, with 5 indicating best in class and 1 meaning worst in class. The qualitative approach to questioning is typically associated with focus groups or in-depth interviews. Focus groups consist of small groups of people gathered together to discuss a common topic. The goal is to initiate and sustain the discussion among all members of the group. In-depth interviews, called IDIs, consist of highly skilled interviewers asking questions of one person at a time and probing deeply into a person's responses. The advantages of qualitative questioning are that you can learn respondents' vocabularies, explore their perceptions, attitudes, and behavior, and investigate issues relative to marketing objects and ideas. However, there are limitations to qualitative approaches. It may be difficult to get the desired group together due to geographic dispersion and time schedules. Also, small, judgmentally selected samples, such as used in qualitative research, may not be sufficiently representative of the population of interest. In marketing, typical populations of interest are buyers, distributors, organizations, and special groups like influencers or voters.
What we're really on the cusp of right now is something more along the lines of combining qualitative and quantitative research to the point where we've just come across a new technology where we actually, respondents may have cameras, respondents in a panel, in a online panel, may actually have cameras attached to their computer, and they can deliver an open-ended response into a camera. Another application for this would be a video diary. So traditionally we've had respondents give a diary on paper. They might be participating in a home use test, and we've given them a product to use for a couple weeks. And traditionally we would have them record all their thoughts and feelings in a diary. We might even ask them specific questions along the way. Well, there's new technology available that would actually allow us to send a video camera to their home or post it on their computer, and they could record their thoughts as they go. And what that does for us in the quantitative world is it takes a more qualitative approach when we're trying to communicate these results to our client, and really lets them hear firsthand from their consumers how they're feeling, whether they're frustrated using a product or whether they're exhilarated using a product. That allows us to communicate how the consumers are feeling in a much more poignant way than we could just by saying X% of people felt this way or that way once we get done with the usage test.
The quantitative approach to questioning requires all respondents to answer the same identical questions, which often have answer formats that increase the accuracy of measurement. With appropriate sampling, the results can be projected to the population of interest. Also, the data lends itself to statistical modeling and testing. However, quantitative research takes more time to complete than qualitative research and is more expensive due to the cost of proper sampling. The questionnaire is fixed for all respondents and cannot be adapted to circumstances or opportunities. This is in sharp contrast to a qualitative discussion guide, which is flexible and capable of being modified to augment or change the direction of respondent discussion. There are 4 major approaches to collecting quantitative data through questioning: Internet, telephone, mail, and in person. The Internet is capturing more and more of the data collection initiatives worldwide. Respondents find Internet questionnaires convenient, private, and better for showing visuals. Also, sound can be a feature of an Internet questionnaire.
If you think about data collection for marketing research in the United States in particular, the Internet was non-existent before 1995. It just sort of emerged at a very small level in 1995, but quickly grew to be one of the fastest growing data collection methods that was ever experienced. So where it was next to nothing in 1995, in 2008 it's going to be over $2 billion. And at $2 billion of research spending, that represents about 43% of all survey research that's done in the United States. So online research, as it's often called now, has really overtaken all other forms of data collection, including telephone, mail, and in person. So it's the most common and dominant form of data collection in the United States, and quickly getting to that same level in Europe. An online access panel is a group of individuals who have agreed to take part in survey research over the Internet. They got recruited from various places. While surfing the Internet, they joined a panel. The panel contacts them on a periodic basis and says, "We have a survey for you, please come take it." And you log on to that, to the website, and you start taking surveys, and in exchange for that you get some form of incentive. It could be online currency such as points or dollars or gift certificates to places like Amazon. The incentive structure for online surveys are varied, but essentially it's a group of people who are willing to take part in surveys on an ongoing basis.
Telephone interviews used to be the dominant method of questioning respondents. The telephone allowed wide geographic coverage at a low cost. They were quick, and hard-to-reach respondents could be found by repeated callbacks. Computer-assisted random digit dialing allowed researchers to reach every household with a telephone. In recent years, telephone surveys have declined dramatically for several reasons: do not call lists, telephone answering machines, cell phone only respondents, and respondent refusals to cooperate. The main advantage of mail surveys is low relative cost. However, the response rate is generally low. To increase the response rate, incentives can be offered. The questionnaire can be designed to be brief and appealing to respondents, and a return envelope with postage must be offered, all of which increases the cost. In addition, there is no control over who actually received the questionnaire and answered it. In-person surveys are often done in central locations such as shopping malls. Personal contact allows screening for the right respondent and increases interview completion rates. Visuals such as advertisements can be shown, and respondents can interact with products by tasting them, opening packages, and using them. However, in-person interviews are expensive and may introduce interviewer bias, especially when socially sensitive or private issue questions are asked. In general, the decision to collect primary data is an investment for companies, one that must have a monetary benefit. Although difficult to estimate, the monetary benefit of collecting primary data is thought to be a function of cost, accuracy, and relevance to a decision maker. The choice of data collection method and approach will influence the value of information provided to marketing decision makers. Making the right choices for primary data collection is truly a professional activity within marketing research.